love angel, must be sad today, 'cause you flew so far away. Let's see if YouTube claims this. Be bold, be big, be brave. Shout out to We Are The Ones. I love everything that they do. I appreciate them so much. What you got to give to me, mama. Ha, give it to me 'cause I want you. Baby, don't fly by, love angels. Alright. Good rising, Big City 101.3 FM. Waking up with who? Okay then. Let's jump into it because we have so much news to cover, and we have an amazing guest for Power Hour. Stunning and unconscionable case at Rikers Island. I've been on this probably all weekend as far as Rikers Island is concerned. I posted the interview that we did about a year ago, about 11 months ago, with the therapist from Rikers Island. And what I didn't know then that I found out recently when I re-listened to the show was that we read a story, and the young lady called in talking about that was her uncle. It's ridiculous. You have to go back. I'll repost it today if you didn't get it on Thursday, because Freaky Friday happened in my bedroom. But I will repost it on Thursday for the show that was talking about Rikers Island and the abuse that really goes on in Rikers Island. Unconscionable case at Rikers Island prison. A mother reached a $5.75 million deal with the New York City over her mental ill son's death, alone in his cell after he was starved of food, water, and medical care for a week. Almost exactly 3 years ago, schizophrenic and diabetic inmate Bradley Ballard was found dead in a cell, and his naked body lying in his own vomit and feces with rubber bands around his genitals. Prison guards had locked Ballard up in the mental health unit for 7 days without sustenance or medication to punish him for dancing in a way that offended a female officer, according to his mother's lawsuit filed 1 year after his death, even though the prison had been required to visit Ballard twice a week. Twice a week? Are you effing kidding me? A nurse only met with him once during the last week of his life while withholding his prescription drugs, rather than provide the critical care required corrections officers and mental health staff. So they had a whole good rising from Mexico in the building. He not only did Rikers Island have a staff that was supposed to check on him, but there was also a medical team that was supposed to check on him. And even though New York has to come out of pocket, Rikers Island, the owners of the prison, the city of New York, the medical facility has to pay nothing. Victor Woods is apparently my cousin. Oh my God. So Victor Woods, R.I.P. to Victor. Shout out to his family. Thank you. Thank you for the niece who called up here and was like, that was my uncle. My uncle was killed a week ago. You'll listen to if you go ahead and you listen to that old show, Rikers Island, the truth behind Rikers Island. Again, I'll go ahead and post it. F this guy, I'm gonna hit him. There's dash cam footage. I watched this at least 14 different times because that's how many times they shot the baby after they were trying to run him over twice. It angers me. You can hear him say, F this guy, I'm going to hit him. Dash cam footage shows police trying to run over a mentally ill homeless man before fatally shooting him 14 times. Joseph Mann, 50 years old, died after police shot him at least 14 times. The footage shows that before police shot him, they tried to hit him with their car. 2 officers appeared to attempt to hit Mann twice during the pursuit. Mann was able to dodge both police cruisers. Officers Randy Lazoya and John Tennis then pursued Mann on foot. In the shocking video, you can hear gunshots, pat, 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 like it was nothing. I want you to watch it for yourself. I'll go ahead and post it on the Wake Up with TaylaAndre page. what can we say? What can we do? As far as technology is concerned, you guys know how much I love science. Suspended service. China unveils its first ever elevated monorail where carriages are hung from the tracks like a roller coaster. The train carriages were filmed in action on Friday during its official test run. Again, we still can't get a damn green line to run. And China is over here making roller coasters out of making trains out of roller coasters. But hey, we're still trying to get the green line to run on time, the orange line to run on time. Ruthie Mae's son? I didn't know that. Shout out to the Parkers, shout out to Keto, shout out to the Westbrooks, the Wards, all the family. I did not know that Victor Woods was related to us. As of yet, no official opening date has been announced for the technology. The trials will continue until engineers have given it the system an all clear. But as far as China is concerned, they have unveiled their first ever elevated monorail where the carriages hang from the tracks like roller coasters. Yet we can't even get our trains to run on freaking time. I want you to save the date really quickly. Save the date. Shout out to our sponsors, Closebox C Plan. This is Trauma in the Village. This is taking place. Registration is now open. And December 9th and 10th is where we will be congregating. This is hosted by the Coalition of Schools Educating Boys of Color, aka COSBAC, and the Collaborative Parent Leadership Action Network, C-Plan. We are talking about fatigue, trauma, compassion, stress, all the things that our children deal with on a daily basis. This is a call to respond to healing in the village and giving hope and healing and compassion. It's a 2-day interactive experience designed to explore trauma and informed approaches for professionals, parents, and community leaders. If you feel like you've ever dealt with trauma, we have Trauma in the Village. It's a 2-day conference. It's a summit. Please come through December 9th and 10th. Registration is now currently open. For more information, if you go to COSBAC, so again, Coalition of Schools Educating Boys of Color, COSEBOC.org, /trauma. Again, that will also be on the Wake Up with TaylaAndre page. Trayvon Martin's parents are to release a book in January. Tracy Martin and Sabrina Fulton, the parents of Trayvon Martin, the Florida teenager who was gunned down by George Zimmerman. The book is titled Rest in Power, The Enduring Life of Trayvon Martin, will be published by Random House's One World and will be hitting the shelves on January 31st, 2017. We're going to go ahead and try and get Sabrina Fulton on the line, or even Tracy Martin, see what we can find out about this book before it hits the shelves. But of course, rest in power to Trayvon and all those that have been killed by people with nothing but biases. The House okays the plan for $170 million to fix Flint's water system, but we're just going to go ahead and give billions of dollars of aid overseas while we are over here negotiating whether or not we want to fix a water system for an entire freaking city. According to Associated Press, the House has approved a plan to provide $170 million to help Flint, Michigan rebuild its lead-poisoned water system. Why is this still a conversation? Why are we still talking about it? Why hasn't it been fixed? Why is it not fixed? Why are we not talking about, well, this is how much it cost because now the babies have water. Now citizens have water. If you guys don't remember, this actually took place in 2014. It's about to be 2017 for crying out loud. Wednesday's vote 284 to 141 came nearly a year after Michigan's officials declared a public health emergency, a year after the actual incident took place. So we're working on 2 years now, coming up on 3. Because Flint's money was stalled, Senate Democrats had derailed a must-pass bill to avert a government shutdown this weekend. They relented after Ryan and Pelosi reached their agreement on Flint. They both need to be whooped. There is no agreement. Fix the damn water. It shouldn't matter how much it costs. Because we don't care how much it costs to go ahead and go into war. We don't care how much we got money for wars, but can't give clean water to the poor, apparently. Do you guys remember the article that I read about the disabled black teammates of the football team being raped by the football players. Well, guess what? Reports said that more likely than not, the vicious rape of a black mental disabled teammate with a coat hanger in a locker room last October more than likely happened. I don't know what the hell that means, but the superintendent, Benjamin Hardcastle, and principal Stephanie Shaw conducted 30 interviews with students, parents, coaches at the school and reviewed footage from surveillance cameras outside the locker room. They found evidence of misconduct among students that included sexual harassment, bullying behavior, and sexual assault. On October 2015, the incident wasn't the first time the victim had been assaulted by teammates John R.K. Howard, 18, Tanner Ward, 17. According to his mother, the school's investigation, but it was far worse than that. On the third day, a boy at the age of 15, who was unnamed in the documents, allegedly lured the victim in by asking for a hug. Once the victim moved closer, the boy grabbed him so that Ward and Howard could rape him. However, Howard was considered the ringleader because it was his idea to rape the 18-year-old victim and kicked the hanger inside of him multiple times. The plaintiff screamed and cried, but no staff member came to his assistance or even attempted to investigate where all this noise was coming from. The victim's family filed a $10 million lawsuit against the school district for failing to protect him from escalating racial and sexual assaults leading up to the rape. Mama, $10 million. We should have started at $100 million. $100 million. You don't let them get it. $100 million. Really quickly, I want to remind you that this Thursday and every Thursday I will be at ZC Boston. Come drink with me. Drink with me. I can't have drinks at the bar. Come drink with me, as I am your bartender. Hey, Auntie Anna. Good rising, Auntie Anna. An update on Mopoli's journey to making Juneteenth a national holiday. Juneteenth should have been a national holiday a long time ago, but Juneteenth, Mopoli's hope to make Juneteenth a holiday by September 27th, when it did not reach the goal of 100,000 signatures. Because I didn't know about it, I definitely would have shared it. Whether we have 100,000 signatures or not, she is still walking. Her goal is to get an audience with the president to ask him why Juneteenth hasn't already been made. A national holiday. A new petition was made on the White House's website and needs 100,000 signatures by October 17th in order to get a response from the president. According to reports, Lee will continue her work on Friday in Mississippi and will later head to Birmingham and Tuskegee, Alabama. More people are picking up the story, and they hope that more people will hear about her and her journey and the vast number of signatures she needs in order to have this addressed. Again, 100,000 signatures. It's on the White House's website. I'm going to go ahead and post it so we can all sign it, because Juneteenth should what? Be a national holiday. Betty Shelby claims to have suffered temporary hearing loss in the Terrence Crutcher shooting. Oh, did you have a second of hearing loss? No, that was me being silent. I don't... Ridiculousness. Are you serious? You were suffering hearing loss. That's the best you could... Yo, who's her attorneys? Cedric the Entertainer led a protest march through Hollywood. That's where we need to march through. We don't need to march through Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan. We need to march where it actually matters. And Cedric the Entertainer, actor Kendrick Sampson led a march of hundreds of men and women and children down Sunset Boulevard on Wednesday to protest the shooting death of black people by police. We must get involved, says Cedric, who said that the police killing black men has reached a boiling point. Nobody wants a Dallas situation, and no one wants to encourage that. As soon as I hear about another one, tears come up, and he's just motivated to get involved and to text his friends and family and tell them that he loves them, especially his people of color, his nieces and his nephews. So shout out to Cedric the Entertainer, and dopeness. Keep doing what you're doing. Make it plain what's going on, and I would suggest that you get your brothers and sisters involved. Those that are in Hollywood with you, making millions of dollars. You guys have influence. Use it. Your boy Steve Harvey, dog, talk to your dog. Like, and my grandmother can't stand Steve Harvey because of the Steve Harvey show, because they said dog so many times. Talk to Steve Harvey. He has a freaking show. What is Steve Harvey talking about it? Oh, does he want to talk about, dumb relationship questions? He has influence. Step up. The largest prison strike in history is largely being ignored by major media outlets. We are not going to ignore the fact that my baby's on strike. A labor strike in the prisons in more than 24 states began on September 9th, on the 45th anniversary of the Attica prison uprising. But it has not been mentioned by anybody. Not the New York Times, not the Washington Post, not NBC News, not ABC News, not MSNBC, not Fox, not CNN, not NPR. But it is and will be continuously covered here on the Wake Up with TaylaAndre show. This is the third week the strike encompasses 20 prisons: Alabama, California, Florida, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, Ohio, South Carolina, and Washington that are still participating in hunger strikes, marches, work stoppage. These are 20,000 incarcerated persons. 20,000 incarcerated persons that are currently on strike. If you don't know, now you know. Less than 2 days ago at Kinross unit in Michigan, the warden had come out and was speaking to the inmates, incarcerated persons. Over 400 of them, which had peacefully marched in the yard, but after the warden left, basically a riot repression team came in and dragged prisoners out of their showers, dragged prisoners out of their cells, zip-tied their arms behind their back, and threw them out in the yard and left them there for 5 to 6 hours in the rain without any access to bathroom facilities. So the repression that prisoners are currently facing around the country for having participated in the strike is very real, and it's very severe. So right now, we're really focused on responding in order to help get the word out and get people to call into the units so that we can help support those that are being repressed, as well as continue supporting strike workers, whether that's people who are continuing to be on work stoppages or rolling work stoppages or continuing the hunger strike. Long story short, these incarcerated persons get paid to put your lingerie together, get paid to put like chairs and desks together, get paid to... Some of them are firefighters. Some of them are workers on the side of the road. Some of them build, like for instance, California has incarcerated persons build the desk and tables and chairs for the state house and for the city halls and throughout California. So California then takes city money, pays the prison, not corporations, not the inmates, not the incarcerated persons, because they get 74 cents a day or $3.34 a day, depending on where they're from or what they do, for the work that they do. And most of this money is spent on phone calls. Most of this money is spent on commissary, like buying things inside a prison. And if you ever had anybody in jail, you already know that the phone calls alone are astronomical. It reminds you of 1990 trying to call long distance. That's neither here nor there. I want to give a huge shout out to Oregon. So I'll read this one tomorrow about the federal officials ignoring years of internal warnings about deaths at private prisons. We'll talk about that later. Mañana. Oregon becomes the first state with an automatic voter registration. So you are automatically registered to vote. This measure is expected to add 300,000 new voters to the polls. And one of the things that I love about this is Oregon, first and foremost, Black people couldn't live in Oregon until 1926. So Black people were, it was illegal for you to work, live, or even travel through Oregon until 1926. But one of the most racist states, and it was like there's so many articles about Portland, Oregon being one of the most racist cities in America. One of the most racist states, because black people couldn't even live there until 1926, has every citizen, every adult citizen in Oregon has the right to go to the polls. If they're not in jail, they have the right to go to the polls. If they're on parole, probation, they have the right to go to the polls. They have the right to vote. And they can mail in their vote. They don't have to go to a poll. They don't have to. How is it that the most racist state in America makes it the most accessible for everyone to vote? That blows my mind. Black people couldn't live there until 1926. But they have the most accessible voting rights. Can you please wake up? Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking, time for thinking ahead. Come on, come on. I'm gonna go ahead and get our guest settled, because we have a guest that's rising. But let me see if I can find this, because I really need y'all to wake up. I need you to wake the hell up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Big City 101.3 FM. Waking up with TaylaAndre, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7. Let me go ahead and get our guest situated, and we'll be right back. Y'all know I can't play music, right? So let me go open the door. I'll be right back. Mwah. I need to get my hair out of my face for a while, and I'm trying to get it to grow. It's not down my back. It's not where I want it to be. It's not your back. It's in the middle. I don't have that problem. Yeah, me neither. I want it to cup. I want it under my cheeks. You don't want that. I do want it. I want it. Good rising, good rising. How are you? We have Jeff, Semon. I get it. And of course, Reggie B. Do not forget, and I'm talking to you guys on YouTube too, do not forget the Rebirth of Work to Do, all the way live from the left coast, featuring the Arsenio Hall show and Versus in Florida. I didn't know that. Prentice Powell, Saturday, November 19, 2016, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Doors open up at 6 p.m. Go ahead and go get your tickets.
Take this picture, too.
What picture? Oh.
Got him.
So excited. Hey.
Good morning.
We have a Republican in the building.
Hey. Good morning.
This doesn't happen often.
Yeah, I'm like the only one that comes in, right?
Yeah, the only Republican that shows us love. So we love you.
Remember that.
I always will.
I was talking to him too about the Talking to him
about alkaline water? What you know about alkaline water?
Nothing. I just didn't listen to nothing.
You didn't let him get a little sky?
No, he said he's pretty healthy, so I let him know. For the most part.
Jeff, where do you live?
I live up in Woburn.
Oh yeah, they have clean water there.
I know what you there was a movie about it a few years ago. You know that?
Woburn? No.
Oh, yeah.
What's there?
John Travolta was in it. Started the movie. Am I having you?
No.
Okay.
Oh, but you are live.
Okay. No. I just didn't want to. It was, I forget what it was called, but like they had a big problem with it. Now it has like the cleanest water because they had a problem like that.
Right.
It was all polluted from some.
Was it Monsanto?
No, it was an actual, like, really, like, bad chemicals and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so.
Well, you say that like Monsanto doesn't poison us every day.
I don't know about Monsanto.
Um,
I know. I mean, I know that they tried to get a patent on the was it like the modified foods? That was the big problem. Right? They tried to get the patent on it.
yeah, and they won.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. The
Patents are
FDA.
the whole patent problem. You want the quality of life to go up in America? Patent problem. Here you go.
Wake up, everybody.
So that's what's going on. That's what's going on.
Yeah, so since we're on live on Facebook and live on YouTube, if we play the music longer than 10 seconds consecutively, it will not, I will no longer own the rights to it.
Yeah.
So.
Let it play.
I do own the rights.
You know what it is? It's DJ Sus One, the feature presentation. Listen, make sure you wake up with TaylaAndre Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 a.m. on Big City 101.3 FM. Wake up with the radio.
I don't know how I'm going to do Friday.
Politics, news, conspiracies. Wake up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. This is the type of stuff I'm into, alright? Make sure you tune in. Let's go.
Let's go, Big City 101.3 FM, waking up with who? TaylaAndre, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7. We are in the building with political analyst Jeff Semon. Do I say your name right? Because you know I butcher names.
Well, you put an accent on it, but yeah, that's close enough.
Jeff Semon.
Yeah, like the one.
Semon.
Yeah, there you go.
So, this is not your first time in the building.
Of course not.
You are
Love it here.
the only Republican that shows us love.
Well, we'll get more.
You think so?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I hope so.
Yeah, no, there should be. There's a lot of stuff going on that people need to be aware of.
Informed, yeah.
Question two on the ballot.
How about all the questions?
Yeah,
Why just question 2?
I think it's the most important one.
What is question 2?
Question two is about charter schools, lifting the cap on charter schools.
And where do you stand as a Republican?
I am for lifting the cap. I think school choice isn't one of the most important local issues you gotta get behind.
Okay, so let's talk about this really quickly. Because there's a lot of parents that are like, yes, we need to lift the cap, but is it necessary to have 12 schools a year be opened?
You mean like year long? What do you mean?
Because isn't that
many schools? That too many
yes.
schools?
Yeah. 12 charter schools a year?
Let me ask you a question.
Of course.
You're a parent?
My children attend charter schools.
Okay, well there you go. I think the way it works out is if a community wants a charter school, they can then be allowed to have a charter school by law in their town, in their city or town. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So what the charter school option does is just makes that possible legally. But if the public schools in your city or town are good, they're not going to put up a charter school. So
Okay.
it's like supply and demand in my mind. So if there's a need for it, like you send your kids to charter schools,
Mm-hmm.
why? Because maybe the public schools aren't up to your standards
Mm-hmm.
regularly. So in my mind, this is something that like it gives people in the neighborhood, in the city, in the town, control of what schools are going to happen. Because if they can't if they're just struggling to raise the standards of the local public school down the street, a charter school can come in there and offer a better alternative. And here's the thing: you don't have to go to a charter school. You don't have to send your kids to a charter school.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the public school if you want to. It's about the choice of doing it. It's your tax dollars. It's your tax dollars. Charter schools are public schools, but they're not controlled by the teachers' unions and the bureaucracy of city and state government.
So
they're not directly controlled. They're still,
they're still controlling.
There's they still have to operate in a legal sense, but definitely they don't have to do the teachers' union stuff.
So the biggest problem that people have with charter schools is the financial burden that it places on BPS because these children that are leaving BPS, the money leaves BPS, but they come back to BPS and the money still stays in charters.
Money doesn't. Look at question 2. There's even more funding for public schools, or in particular BPS.
So you just mean that?
No, they made that as more of a, I think they call them like sweeteners. You know, they wanted to make sure that it didn't pull away from public schools, so they added more funding on top of it. Boston Globe, I think, had an article about it yesterday or this weekend in the paper.
About the sweeteners?
No, about the whole thing, and they have how basically it doesn't take away any money from public schools at all.
So
at all.
Tito Jackson is just lying to the whole city.
He was just on a podcast yesterday, the Scrum podcast of GBH. Does a podcast. I think they're on iTunes and stuff. You can take a listen to it. I don't know what he said on that. I know he's probably against it, but he was a guest on there. Take a listen to what he has to say. But I can tell you right now, go on the Boston Globe. It does not deprive any public schools of a nickel. In fact, I think it gets more. And that was part of the deal. That was part of what they wanted to make sure that it didn't rob the public schools, Boston public schools included, of any funding. I mean, I have to be right on this stuff. I'm not going to come in here and say because here's the thing. Well, not that I have to be right, because I have to be right. Because if I come in here and I say that and I'm completely wrong, then I look like an idiot. And I don't want to look like an idiot. I want to be right. But it's true. It's true. Think about it. At the end of the day, do you care if your child is educated in building A versus building B?
No, but I do care about. All right, so Anari and Asaria attend a charter school. Now, the thing that I love about their school is that, you know, the teachers are not unionized, so they don't have the same rules and regulations.
Right.
They have.
The work rules are bananas when you get down to a lot of that stuff. I got really ticked last year. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, like last year in Woburn, there was, I remember reading in the paper, the teachers the high school, weren't signing or writing the letters of recommendations for colleges. They were kind of slowing them down because they were in contract negotiations with the city for their.
So you couldn't write.
So basically, you're a junior or you're a senior. You're applying to all your colleges, and you ask a teacher, hey, Miss Smith, can you write me a letter of recommendation for this college I want to get into? And that's something that a lot of teachers do. And these teachers weren't doing that, and a few other things, and slowing all that process down to put pressure on the city to cave to their contract demands. That was the union.
So you take it out on the babies.
Complete BS. It's all about the kids. Remember that, right? Give me a break. Give me a break. Come on. But that's like that's crazy. That's crazy. And with charter schools, it's like if you have the biggest thing I think is like you can fire bad teachers with a charter school.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that's what it comes down to. If you have a lousy teacher, there's a lot of good teachers out there. Most are good, but if you have a bad one, it's really hard to get rid of them if they're in a union. The union rules they're designed to protect. I mean, they're designed to protect the employee, but to a point that it's just like absurd.
Ridiculous. I do think that we need to look at that. I think that has always been an issue when it comes to Boston Public. And one of the things that I noticed, because Anari attended the Henry Grew in Hyde Park, so he was in public school. I went through having to deal with the then superintendent, having to deal with the principal, and the mayor then was Menino. And he used to go to the Henry Grew like it was nothing, but he went for like sports reasons. Let's go, promote the fact that you guys are getting a new gym. But yet, the science, math, and reading scores sucked.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's the weird part. You go to a lot of the neighborhoods in the city, and a friend, I'm going to plug my podcast. Can I plug my podcast?
Well, you already plugged it, so.
All right, so there we go. The Lincoln Review on iTunes and Lincoln Review. My friend Ed and I, we do a podcast, and he's big into this. He homeschools his kids.
Can he homeschool my kids?
No, I think he's got 3 now, so I think his hands are full.
What's
But he
my
homeschools
kids?
his kids because he just moved out of the city like a month or 2 ago, and he homeschools his kids because he was out in Brighton, and the schools aren't that good.
In Brighton?
And he's a smart guy, and yeah, I'll take his word for it. He didn't want his kids going to the public schools there, so he homeschools. And that in and of itself is a big pain to homeschool your kid. You have to get all kinds of permission. Imagine that. You got to get permission from whomever to educate your kids. Anyway, but he was saying he knows about some of the schools out, and I think in Mattapan that look like they're gorgeous on the outside, beautiful playgrounds, new brick buildings and windows and all this stuff, but they have like the lowest scores in the state. So in elementary school now, I mean, and that's time you don't get to make up. You know what I mean? Like those are core learning years from when you're in 1st grade to 5th or 6th grade. You know what I mean? That's prime time where you need a really good education. Just to build that foundation for the rest of your life. And these scores are terrible. It's like, well, put more money at it. Put more money at it. Put more money at it. That's the answer you always hear from the Democrats on Beacon Hill. And that's the answer you're going to hear for a long time. But like, I would love to know, like, what number, I'd love for any Democrat to tell me what number. What's the magic number?
Thing?
Because they're the ones that are stopping it, honestly, Taylor. You look at look at who's against charter schools.
Well, not just charter schools. What about improving? So, METCO exists for what reason? Because of the whole busing incident, right?
I think it was a holdover from that, but I think it was to give kids an opportunity to go to the better schools that weren't in their neighborhood.
Okay, so Boston has been effed up for a long time.
Right.
Then we take a look at charter schools, which came 20 years ago, which was trying to make up for the deficit that BPS has been going through. So, for me, it's not Democrat, Republican, it's the fact that the school's been messed up. The schools have been messed up for years. What are we doing to fix the schools? And I'm with you because there's third world countries that have absolutely no money. We spend $1 billion on education in the city of Boston, but yet we have countries with GDPs less than $1 billion that have more educated children. Their children are more educated than ours as far as the maths and the sciences. And
I'd have to look at that. I mean, see, it also depends on the country, but I'll take your word for it.
You can look at Jamaica. You can look at the West Indies. Their kids come here and are grades ahead of where our children are.
I don't, not believe you or anything. I'd like to hear about
He
that.
said I'm gonna go fact check that. Good.
Absolutely.
Good.
I want to know if that's the case.
But I want to know
because that's a good example of where we're failing. So.
Oh, 617-282-0062. Some people said they wanted to be a part of the conversation. I was leaving them out. 617-282-0062. Give us a call. It still makes no sense to me why our tax dollars for public schools are wasted and citizens are bear the financial burden to have them double down on the cost of core education, yet government officials splurge in other areas, and now we have a candidate running for office that makes an art not to pay for taxes.
He doesn't make an art of it. He's too stupid at business. That's why he didn't pay taxes. If we're talking about Mr. Trump.
Mr. Trump.
Who I'm not a fan of.
Oh, you're a Republican though. Those are your peoples.
No, not really. No.
Is that how Republicans?
Oh, we're so split. It's unbelievable. We're in such a battle right now for our party. It's crazy.
What do you mean?
No. Most people, lot of Republicans can't stand Trump. I'd say, well, look at the polls. Like
Jeff, who
58%.
for him?
42% of the Republican voting, primary voters, 42%, so way less than a majority, way less than half.
So there were some Democrats in there, some independents that were in there. If 42%
Well, it would have
were
been
Republicans.
Democrats. No. I mean, like, so he became the nominee with only 42% of the vote. That's how it worked. Because there's the rules and stuff, so there were so many people running, he could win all these states without getting more than half the vote. So 58% of Republican voters did not want Donald Trump, and I bet you a lot more after my coffee. I bet you a lot more are feeling that same thing.
So let
But
me
you
ask
want to
you.
go back to charter schools?
No, well,
Whatever. Your call.
I know a lot of people are emotional when it comes to charter schools, and I don't want to stir the pot with emotions today because I'd like to deal with facts. Because you're a Republican.
I thrive on facts. Let's do it.
The Electoral College. Can you dumb that down for us? Because we feel like
Sure.
our vote doesn't count because the Electoral College already chose who they want to win.
No, I don't think our vote doesn't count. That's mostly because we live in Massachusetts. So the Electoral College was designed so that smaller states can have a relatively proportional voice in the presidential election. Okay, so the best way I can explain it right now is the flip side and say if we elected our president by popular vote, all anybody who was running for president would have to do would be to run in California, New York, Florida, Texas, maybe Ohio, just the biggest states.
Mhm.
Like they would just have to run up the score, run up the vote totals in the biggest states, and that way, and then like the rest of the country wouldn't get a vote, but wouldn't really have a say in who decides to be president.
So that's how it started.
So the Electoral College was designed to prevent that, meaning that if you're in the middle of the country, if you're in like Arkansas or something, which doesn't have as many people as New York or even Massachusetts, you get as many votes. You get 2 senatorial votes plus however many congressmen are there, and those are your votes. Maybe a few extra towards the Electoral College. So it's designed to give your smaller state power in determining, in determining who's president. That's the best way I can describe it. Now in Massachusetts, because more people are Democrats and they're going to vote for the Democrat candidate for president, no, it doesn't matter as much. But if you're a smaller state and it's more 50-50, then yeah, it's going to be, then your vote really counts. Like you go move up to New Hampshire, where it's a little more even in terms of Democrat or Republican voters, then it's going to be, then your vote will count more. It doesn't count more because of the Electoral College, just because more people in Massachusetts are Democrats. That's more why it doesn't count. Not because of the Electoral College, just because of the makeup of our state.
So my kids asked me a question yesterday that I didn't know the answer to, and I'm hoping as a political analyst you do. Why do we get ads for New Hampshire?
If you live up in Nashua, Manchester, New Hampshire, you're part of the Boston media market. Like the TV signal reaches there. That's the TV stations they tune into.
Oh,
Boston TV. That's
so
it.
they're just trying to reach.
Yeah, so they're just trying to reach that. By the way, folks, if you'd like to see me do some political analysis, tune in tomorrow. New England Cable News at 6 p.m. and 7:30 on the tape with Sue O'Connell. We'll be there